Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Eva and this is Harley's channel. Today we are going to talk about my dog and her experience with other dogs. Is she friendly? Does she like them? She doesn't like them? And also a little bit of backstory, how this happened, and a little bit of the breed in general, because they do have something in common, I would say. But before we start, please subscribe to my channel if you are new. That would really help me out. And now let's jump right into the video. So Harley is right over here. She's super tired today. Here she is. Also, I wanted to say that with next episode, you may call it, I will talk about Dogo Argentino and dog parks, and also my experience in dog parks. Because spoiler alert, I did went to dog parks handful of time, I would say. But anyway, let's talk about the Dogo Argentino, my specific female, and other dogs. So when she was little, like right after her old vaccination, about 3 months old, I started going on the trails and walks right away. Keep in mind that I did not have a puppy for 20 years. My last dog, I met her when she was already 1 year old, so not quite a puppy. And my dog back in Poland 20 years ago, you know, letting dogs off leash and stuff like that, it was not a thing really. No, we did let the dogs off leash, but no socialization. But I never had like a bad experience with the first dog ever. So anyway, she's 3 months old, so tiny puppy, and by her temperament, she is a little bit, she's not very confident dog. She's a little bit timid, you know. So she was afraid of dogs bigger than her. So as you can imagine, all the dogs were bigger than her, right? And she's been always afraid of bigger dogs than her, even now. And she's quite a big dog, so it's not a big of a problem right now, I would say, because she's, you know, huge. But as she was growing, you know, like, it could be a little bit of problem, because she was always super nervous. Like, she did not want those dogs to go and approach her. She did not want to interact with them, and she would eventually warm up to them, definitely, because she has friends bigger than her, but she needs a little bit more of time. So anyway, back to when she was 3 months old. We were walking on the trail, and people with off-leash dogs with zero recall, that's the point where you want to listen to. I remember, like, the first time the big black Labrador came, very happy, very friendly dog, and start jumping all over her. I look all around, the owner is nowhere to be found, and my dog is freaking out, okay? She was so scared, and that definitely set her for life. Even though if I could bring time back, I think I would work with her on the trails maybe a little bit later in her life to avoid that. But I genuinely didn't know, and I also didn't know that people really are so crazy by letting the dogs off leash if they don't have recall. So anyway, the owner finally showed up and took her dog, and then, you know, the same thing happened a few times after that in the same trails. And yeah, she was always scared of like bigger dogs approaching her. She would be okay. She would be better off leash, and that kind of gave her a little bit of reactivity. She's not reactive that when she sees a dog, you know, she wants to get to the dog, nothing like that. But if the dog comes to her, doesn't matter the size, bigger or smaller, she may show a little bit of like aggression, a little bit of reaction. Like, she's not gonna go straight for the dog, but she will definitely tell the dog, please give me space. Right, she will at first try to avoid the dog, and then eventually she will like shows the teeth, and then she will like, you know, this with every single reaction is gonna be more severe. And sadly the dogs never back out, so now you know, when I see dogs coming to us, I just yell, not friendly, my dog is going to bite your dog in a second. And that really works because she looks scary. She's a big girl, and she's always like, you know, like her fur stands a little bit, and people definitely rush quickly for the dogs. But if the dog, you know, but if the owner is far away, then you know what, it's their problem. If Harley is off leash and the dog is also off leash, it's usually okay. It's best for her if she approaches the dog, okay? If she's the first to start the interaction, then she's always okay. Always okay. But that being said, if there are two dogs off leash, I mean her and the other dog, and the dog approach her, at first she's like, who are you? Like, she really doesn't like when the dog jumps on her, you know, start like wrestling right away. She's more into like running, like let's go for a run first and then we can go to that, you know, close interactions. So it does require a little bit of management from me, that I have to tell the people from the dog who want to play with us, like, hey, wait a second, you know, let's do it slow, don't let your dog run on my dog right away, she needs a little bit of time. So even like me talking to this person and the dogs are not face to face, just like a minute or two, and then let them off leash, both of them, that's always a key. And my dog is fine, unless when she was, as I said, when she was puppy, the dogs were like all over her, and then eventually she will get used to, okay? So if the same dog, you know, keep pushing itself on her, she will be fine as long as she is off leash and she could like run around, then she will be fine. So here, around I think 5 months old, we went to a totally new park. I really like that park, but I didn't know that from 8, like around 8 a.m. to like whatever, the same group of people are always coming, and they always have their dogs off leash, and they absolutely do not care if their dogs approach a dog they don't know. Some of those people don't even know where the dogs are in that park, so they will walk, they will let the dog off leash, and the dog is like so far away they don't even know. And you know, the dog is always allowed to approach other dogs, and that's what happened to us. But somehow, you know, I become friends with those people, and but at first, no, it wasn't cool. That first day, I think she wasn't 5 months, she was younger, she was like 3 to 4 months. It was like 5 of those different dogs approaching us, and I was like, oh my god, this is crazy. But people always ask me questions about her, so I would stop and I would talk to them, and then my dog interact with their dogs. And then I came back to the same park at the same time, and the same thing happened, and she got used to those dogs, okay? Once she passed that threshold of being scared to like, okay, it is what it is, she's fine. I just have to push her a little bit, you know, out of her comfort zone. And now I go to that park once every 2 weeks or so, just so she can run with those dogs. But I never ever let her go out of my sign. So if she runs with those dogs and I want her close, I will of course call her. I never let her approach other dogs, never ever. Because first of all, I don't want her to think that that's okay, that she can always approach other dogs. Second of all, I don't know if those people want my dog into their face. The same forced kind of friendship, I swear, like all those friendships my dog has are forced, most of them except one. So another dog, it's a husky, you know, the same thing, but they're always on the leash because this gentleman doesn't trust his dog off leash. So they actually ran a few times, but it was behind the fence, so it was, you know, safe for the other dog that it wouldn't run away. But they met in a fence, no, on the leash, and same thing, first thing. But my dog got used to, and now this husky is her best friend. Whenever she sees that husky, she goes nuts. So we always like stop with this person and we chat, and the dogs are like jumping on each other. The dog is always wearing the halter on its nose, so you can't really run around as much, but Harley goes nuts like all around the dog, and they want to wrestle and all of that. Oh, I also want to talk about that. So at first my dog wants to run with the other dog, and then the next step is that she gets closer and closer and more comfortable with the dog, and that's when she let the dog like wrestle and jump and all of that. She's also very polite, you know, if the other dog gets a ball, even if that was her ball or her stick or whatever, she's not possessive. She doesn't guard that at all. If the other dog gets it and like growls at her to leave it alone, she will just leave it alone. She doesn't care. When we walk on the sidewalk, she's not reactive at all. You know, she will pay attention to me if I ask her to. Sometimes she's interested in the other dogs, you know, her tail start wagging. I don't know why. Like, she just likes some dogs. And if the other dog is reactive towards her, you know, just barking and lunging, she won't care at all. I think she reacted maybe like once or twice. I don't know why. Like, seriously, I have no idea why would she react. And you know, I just popped her leash and she was fine. Like, it wasn't like I had to hold her on anything. She was just like, hey, stop, leave it. And she would leave it and keep walking. So yeah, she's pretty good with the dogs. I try to, you know, socialize her with the dogs, or I would say I try to teach her to be around other dogs, okay? To just be neutral. I knew, so the breed now. I know that there are some dogs that really like other dogs. You know, different dogs won't like the other dogs at all in the same breed. I think it all depends of bloodline, right? Genetics matter, so how the parents were. It depends how much time you spend socializing in the right way, so not just letting your dog go and introduce to every single dog, but also how to be neutral with other dogs. It all depends, and it also depends on the dog personality, right? Temperament. Some dogs like other dogs and meet new dogs. Other dogs like mine need a little bit more time with a new dog before they become friends. But yeah, overall I think I'm happy with her. I wish that maybe she wasn't so like stressed out when other dogs approaching her, because this is something that I can't do anything about that, right? If like another of these dogs come to us, like what can I do? Like, there's nothing I can do. There is one dog that I don't know what Harley's intentions are towards this dog, and here is why, and here is what happened. So when Harley was 7 months, I think, my neighbors across the fence, okay, we shared the same fence, they adopted a dog from a pet shelter. It was a female, it's a female from a puppy mill, and yeah, she was the breeding bitch. Once she was done, I think she's like 3 years old, and she has like so many litters already, guys. It's horrible. It's really heartbreaking. And she is husky and Labrador mix. Anyway, they got that dog, and they didn't know that she is extremely reactive towards other dogs if they get face to face, okay? So she is fine from distance, even like being very close to the other dog, but once face to face, it's game on. She's so aggressive. Anyway, they didn't know that. So we had Harley and we had her, and because we live, you know, across the fence, like, we wanted to introduce each dogs to each other, because we also sometimes like go down to their place, to their backyard. They come into our backyard. They had a different dog before, and we had a different dog before, and we would always bring our old dog there. So we were hoping that the same thing would happen. And once Harley and that dog got into the face, that dog turned like full power and tried to bite Harley on her face. It was so close, guys, so close. But I pulled her back, you know. Harley get obviously aggressive back, right? She wanted to protect herself, and that was oops. So our fault totally. We shouldn't do that, but what's done, it's done. And from that point on, Harley, whenever she gets outside, she runs through the fence to see if the other dog is there. And also for the very long period of time, the other dog would do the same. So if we didn't know that those two dogs are out, like, you know, the other dog is out, we would let her go, and they would run back and forth through the fence, like full aggression, full barking and growling, and Harley's hair would stand up, and she would not listen to me to come back at all. And it was so serious, and there was so much aggression and power into like Harley and the other dog that she grabbed the fence. You know, we have like the standard American fence, a little bit outdated, and she grabbed the fence and she bite through that, okay? Yes, she bite through that. So this is how much strength she has in her mouth. Anyway, we kind of like worked on that, the neighbor and I. The neighbor got a bark collar. I don't know much about bark collars, but I think it works in similar way like e-collar. You know, it detects the bark and then gives the, I don't know. I don't know anything about bark collars. But that dog definitely stopped being like that, okay? She chill out, definitely. Harley, on the other hand, forget it. So in the winter it was horrible, because sometimes we let them out and there was like a little bit of a spot under the fence where the other dog would put her face on there, and I was always terrified that Harley's gonna like bite her there. Anyway, this is the only situation where I actually put the e-collar on and, you know, buzz it on like quite high levels, and it worked, guys. It worked. It seriously worked. It was the highest numbers ever I have ever used on Harley on the e-collar, but it worked. She's no longer crazy, okay, about the other dog. Now it's summer and they can both be on each backyard and they will kind of ignore each other. Harley will still like walk beside the fence. She actually destroyed the whole grass over there, okay? There's like a whole path of no grass anymore. But right now, after she got that one strong correction from e-collar, she comes back to me when cold, okay? So the other dog is outside and Harley is outside, and they kind of like, you know, want to get to each other, but I called her, now she will come. After that one time, I zipped her pretty bad. She actually yelped that time. But it worked. She's like fine. She, you know what, she can relax because she will play with us, she will lay down, even if the other dog is on their side of the backyard. The other dog is wearing that bark collar all the time. But I noticed that the other dog is not as determined as the other dog. Could actually relax a little bit more. I forget it. She could not be even close to that dog before, beside the fence. But you also, you know what's funny? When we walk, okay, like very recently after the e-collar situation, and in general, right? You know, and the dog also, it's been like almost a year in their house. Anyway, when we go for a walk, me and that lady, and we, you know, met each other once, and we walk together, right? Like close on the sidewalk, like Harley's on this side, the other dog is wearing the halty, so it's on this side. They work perfectly, right? There is zero reaction from Harley on the walk. I was a little bit worried that maybe, you know, she would be attracted to that dog, but no, on the leash, both, you know, no, walk nicely, like that's it. And it's just a fence, a little bit still. It's nothing too crazy like it used to be during the winter time. We definitely fixed it. Thank you, e-collar. And she's definitely learning that she doesn't need to run like crazy back and forth. So that's all good. I think, you know, maybe a little bit later in summertime, we're gonna put muzzles on both dogs and reintroduce them again. Not so they are friends, okay? Not so they will play, because it's never gonna happen. Like, I think the older dog has some really serious trauma with perhaps other females, right? Other breeding bitches, so she will never be fine and playing with another dog. That's fine. It's not what we want. We just want them not to be reactive to each other, okay? We want them to be neutral and not to care about each other, and so we can hang out in each other's backyard, because, you know, sometimes we go there and the dogs are crying because they want to go with us, And yeah, and because we are so close, it's just annoying. I know that the neighbor on the other side is gonna get a puppy next week, so you know, she's good with puppies. She's good with all puppies. Her puppies can jump on her and she doesn't care. I think most of the dogs likes puppies. So yeah, that's the story about that one dog. She really hated. I don't know now. I don't know what her intentions are. If she get like face to face with the other dog without muzzle, would she be the aggressor towards the other dog? I honestly don't think so. I think at that point it's just that thrill of running back and forth on the fence and just barking. But once they would be together, I hope they will be okay, but I will update you. And yeah, I think that's it for today. If you enjoyed today's video, then give me a thumbs up. Please leave a comment down below about your Dogo Argentino. Does it like other dogs or it doesn't like other dogs? I would like to know. And I hope I will see you. I hope I will see you with my next video. Bye guys.